Welcome to OCAmedia's live coverage of the 2018 Oregon-Wisconsin Homecoming Parade. I'm Sean Bull, and I will be your host, your Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb for this poor man's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Now, we are here in downtown Oregon, bringing this to you live in exclusive OCA coverage. The parade is just about to start. Millions of people have turned out here in the streets of downtown Oregon to see what will happen. As you may remember from our last parade's coverage, both the world-famous Pikachu and Snoopy balloons showed up to tour the Oregon streets and to finally settle their bloody, decades-long rivalry. Pikachu finally won out over Snoopy, popping the balloon and spreading chaos all over downtown, as well as thousands of gallons of helium. Hopefully, no such incident will happen today, although it will be very entertaining if it does, and I understand we've got a local citizen who wants to give his thoughts and input about this parade.
Yeah, this parade's sick. Yeah. Woo!
What's your name?
Max.
Nice to hear from you, Max. So as you can see, we are very excited to kick off the parade, which is being led by some of our finest from the Oregon Police Department. One of their motorcycles and squad cars is kicking this off, and it looks like the Oregon-Brooklyn VFW is trailing not far behind. Lots of excitement downtown in Oregon today. You may see in some of our shots the downtown Quick Trip is getting resurfaced. So despite all the revelry, business goes on as usual. I'm sure this is a little confusing for the construction workers who are hoping to have a little easier path of entry and exit as they put new concrete around those gas pumps. Here they come, riding a motorcycle as slow as a motorcycle has ever been ridden. What a demonstration of dexterity, balance, and skill. As we can see, Oregon's police department leads us off. Lots of thrilling and riveting things will be seen today at today's parade. You can expect representation from Oregon High School's dozens of clubs, as well as representation from the lower schools and organizations around the community that want to get their names out there. As I said earlier, the VFW is now making their way through this downtown strip. Veterans of foreign wars, thank you for your service. Behind the veterans, you can see it looks like McGruff the crime dog being escorted through town in a Kubota RTV. McGruff, he may have had his career come and gone decades ago, but he still is an inspiration to members of the community everywhere around this great nation. Next, we see some representation from Oregon's Fire and Rescue. They've got their ambulance leading off their section of the parade, as well as their several fire engines. They really have turned out in full force today. All the kids have gotten out of school early today. You will notice that it is only roughly 2:20 in the afternoon, and yet everyone from Oregon's lower schools, all their elementary schools, have been bussed in and are now lining the streets, hoping to catch a view of some of their favorite mascots or be thrown some candy or other prizes. Speaking of the kids' favorite mascots, we've got Smokey the Bear on top of engine number 3. It's kind of weird. Smokey reminds me of my grandpa. I don't know if it's the general hairiness or the fact that he's not often wearing a shirt. It's just something about him. I don't know. If you're tuning in, Grandpa, miss you. Hope to visit soon. Oh, boy. As far as other mascots, it seems like Smokey's not the only one getting in on the fun. we've got a Dalmatian wearing a fireman's uniform on top of engine number 1 from Brooklyn. So as well as the Oregon Volunteer Fire Service, it looks like we've got the Brooklyn firemen in on the parade here on the festivities, and if I'm not mistaken, behind them is the green engine from Fitchburg. Nice to see representation from all sorts of members of our community. Yes, the Fitchburg engine. I believe that's what that is, coming up next. And behind, it looks like we've got all sorts of things back there. I don't want to jump ahead too much. So far, the kids are empty-handed, still waiting for their candy. But it looks like School District Superintendent Brian Bustler is making his way along the curb nearest to us, and he's passing out leaflets of some sort, no doubt related to the upcoming referendum to determine whether to expand the Oregon School District, expand its reach, rather, with a new elementary school located maybe more conveniently to those of us in the district who live in Fitchburg. Speaking of Fitchburg, that is indeed the Fitchburg Green Fire Engine number 1, serving the area to the north of Oregon. You know, fire engines are often red for the safety purposes, but that green really is striking. They should consider doing that with more fire trucks every once in a while. Just sprinkle a green one in here and there. Now we've got people walking around with balloons that spell out some sort of acronym, FOSD. If you're watching us live on YouTube, maybe you should leave a comment. What do you think that the acronym FOSD stands for? It's probably Friends of the Oregon School District, but I'm sure there's something way more creative and fun. Now we've got the little cart with Oregon's beloved mascot, Victor E. Panther, driven by Oregon teachers Mr. Lease and Mr. Ebert. And now we've got freebies. Apples for all being handed out from a wagon. You know what? That's a better prize. You know, it's bigger than candy. It'll last you longer. It cleans your teeth after eating so much of that, you know, Laffy Taffy and stuff. But we've got Student Council President and Vice President Becken Pearson and Emily Lehman from the Oregon High School, driven in a beautiful Mercedes-Benz convertible. This kicks off the Oregon High School representation portion of the parade, I think. We've got a nice classic red Ford Mustang with members from the Student Council executive team. Thank you to all 30 of you who have tuned in live. Tell your friends and neighbors. Tell people who are at the parade right now that they can tune in and hear our exclusive commentary and watch it on their phones. Anybody who is unable to make it to the parade, or even people who are, go to OCAmedia.com, click on Watch Live, and they can watch our live presentation of this parade. Don't forget, we've also got the homecoming football game tonight. That's going to be quite the exciting matchup. The Badger South's strongest rivalry, Oregon versus the Stoughton Vikings. You are not going to want to miss that riveting football game. It has been the subject of many a homecoming game before in past years. And now, once again, the Vikings are back to challenge the Panthers. The Panthers are looking good after their last home game, but, you know, this one's going to be intense. We've got people representing local racing and also Oregon Floral represented in a car here. Everybody has a little different take of an orange and black look. A couple of these ladies here are wearing an interpretation of Finding Nemo, swallowing their craniums. I'm not sure if that's the orange and black look I would go for, but I appreciate the different and nuanced take on a beloved Pixar film. Now we've got the Oregon High School Marching Band in their shades of black and gray, trimmed with orange on their sleeves. Setting the pace for the march with the drum solo from the 21st Century Fox theme. Followed immediately by a classic of the Badger football games. We've got more representation from, I think, Oregon High School. Yep, there is freshman, sophomore, and junior homecoming court representatives. The ladies riding in the back of another beautiful convertible. Lots of convertibles represented in the homecoming parade. You know, you wouldn't think of Oregon necessarily as having a great car culture. It's snowy much of the year. How are you going to enjoy a convertible? But people manage anyways. More of our homecoming representatives as they pass by, representing all the classes. More senior representatives, Ethan Weiland, Merritt Kugel. I don't know if they have done the ceremony already, whether they, oh yes indeed, they have crowned a king and queen. Those are coming up pretty soon, but right now we've still got more homecoming representatives. Nate Ellingson, Sean Benet, Ethan Mayo, Brooke McCallum, in a more modern take on the red Mustang convertible. And then, in a modernized Chevy Camaro in cherry red, sitting regally in the back, the homecoming king and queen, Oscar Bennett and Katie Isley, class of 2019. They're followed by the 2018 prom king and queen, Ricky Zalua and Lindsay Swigum. Now following the marching band is the band that does not march, the Oregon Community Gray Panther Pep Band, an extension of the Oregon Community Band, I think. In any case, they provide some marches to move the crowd along. We now have representatives from RCI pulled by a tow truck from Liberty Towing Service. And that's a fun take on the parade float. You know, who needs all that many decorations when you've just got a boat? Pull a boat around for a little while. They've got a narwhal in the front, some fish on the sides, and many cheering representatives from RCI. Someone in the foreground here has even apparently cut off Victory Panther's head and superimposed it over his own. Terrifying to think about the ramifications, but nonetheless, it looks cute in this context. We've now got some representatives. I think these might be foreign exchange students. Oregon High School has such a cool foreign exchange program where they host students from all over the world. Looks like they had one from Denmark in the back of that truck. Such a cool opportunity provided through the Rotary Club. The next float coming up is the Oregon Elementary Parent-Teacher Organization. They do so much work in terms of fundraising and organizing activities. Cannot say enough about the involvement of the PTO in making this school district the fun place to be that it is. Looks like they've got souvenir pencils that they're throwing out, which is good because, you know, it's the beginning of the school year. It always seems like you need an extra right about now. We've got representatives from one of Oregon's 3 elementary schools, Prairie View Elementary, located here in beautiful, if sometimes swampy, downtown Oregon, Wisconsin. And here we have some teachers from the high school. Oregon High School represented well, all this orange and black worn here. And speaking of orange and black and patriotism in general, a Ticey design. I mean, their whole logo is orange and black. I don't know if they chose that before or after moving to Oregon, but turned out to be a good choice there. Now, what is this pickup truck pulling? Looks perhaps like another representation from elementary schools. A lot of fish on the side of it. I guess fish was the theme for for some of the elementary schoolers here. Fourth grade. Ah, there we go. It's Brooklyn Elementary. Now have a float from Pure Integrity Homes with a panda sitting on top of a Jeep Wrangler. I don't know if the panda works in building or designing the homes, but it's interesting and quite a good example of good representation. You know, if a panda can build a good house, then who am I to prevent a panda from building houses? Now these might be representatives, I think, from Oregon Youth Soccer. It's hard to tell sometimes. You know, the biggest logo on the jerseys is in fact the Oregon Community Bank sponsor logo, but I think soccer is what is being promoted here. Oh, we've got flying candy everywhere. That almost hit our camera. I mean, with a throw like that, what are you doing playing soccer? Our football team needs you, kids. No, but Oregon's got a great soccer program, and we are proud to support that as well. Let's see. HOSA, Future Health Professionals. I think that's a club at the high school. I don't know. I've only been out for like 3 years, and already my memories are starting to fade. More boats here. Boats make good floats. Good thing to remember for the future if I ever have to design a parade float. Now we've got Oregon's Lacrosse Club, followed closely by the Gay Straight Alliance Club from the high school. Now we've got a more retro take on the fire engine. This one is no longer in service in the town of Oregon, but what a beauty this engine is. Ladder number 2 from back in the day. And who are they representing today? Oregon Youth Softball. If your kid wants to play a sport, Oregon has it, I think. I think we've got just about every sport known to man. And that's one of the great things about living in this town is the representation you can get there. So far, no parade balloons. I don't know if that's just overall a taboo thing on such a windy day as today, or if perhaps that's a thing that we ought to save for the Summerfest. We've got all sorts of. Oh, and here comes representatives from the Oregon High School Musical. What we've got here is they're putting on Wizard of Oz at the end of October, I think. You're on OCAmedia television. How's it going, cast of OHA?
It's going so good.
It's amazing.
It's really good.
Tell people to come to your show.
Yes.
Come see it, please.
No, there you have it, folks. The Wizard of Oz Oh, actually, in November. I was mistaken. November 9th, 10th, and 11th in the OHS Performing Arts Center. We've got the director here right now.
Come see the show November 9th, 10th, 11th, Performing Arts Center.
Oregon High School has a proud tradition of musical theater, a tradition I was part of for a few years in a moderate capacity at least. Now a representative from the newest memory care home in town, the Beehive Homes of Oregon. Looks like they might have some of the residents in the bus. That's kind of fun. They get to participate in the parade. We've got the float from Oregon Cross Country passing by, both the boys and the girls team on the same trailer. Nice to see some representation from both teams. You know, you'd think the cross country team would run this parade, but what do I know? I didn't organize. I just got asked last minute to do this. Got a little bit of gap in the parade now, building anticipation. Maybe this is the place where the Snoopy balloon would have been if Pikachu had not so mercilessly popped him, as I said earlier, in our summer homecoming parade. Sorry, I said summer homecoming. I'm too wrapped up in this parade right now. I meant Summerfest, of course. What have we got here? Proudly supports. Oh, okay. This is a business showing their support for the Panthers. 1901 Mechanical and Plumbing proudly supports the Oregon Panthers. Speaking of which, of course, if you're just tuning in, remember that we have live coverage of the Oregon Panthers rivalry homecoming football game against the Stoughton Vikings tonight. You are definitely going to want to tune into that. That is going to be a thrilling game, and we've got coverage of it here. Multi-camera, full crew, OCAmedia Live. Don't want to miss, as it's going by, the Recreational Concepts fire truck carrying along the Oregon High School volleyball team. Volleyball is in season as well right now. Fall is a good season for high school sports. You know, you've got a lot of variety. You got football, you got soccer, boys soccer at least. You have volleyball. You know, I think, swimming comes up pretty soon. Swimming has started. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, you got all sorts of opportunities to participate in Panther sports as soon as fall starts. You got cross country. Great time to be a Panther athlete. Another gap, building anticipation. Yes, folks, if you can go to the bathroom or make yourself a snack within the next 20 seconds, now might be a good time to do so. But we've got a lot more floats coming up. Will Bon Jovi make an appearance? Probably not. They have nothing to do with Oregon and have no incentive to come here, as nobody paid them. But, I'm not saying that they're definitely not coming. I think this might be one of the local dance schools that is represented now. Indeed it is. Leap Above Dance, the dance school from Oregon, Wisconsin, in their blue shirts. You've got a couple of their representatives out front here, and most of them handing out candy and dancing along in front of what may also be their float behind them. If so, great representation. You may see in the far background, the Quick Trip Cement project is just chugging along, completely uninterrupted by this parade. Indeed, you've got the Leap Above Dance members both on the street and some of the younger members perhaps on the float, as well as a guy walking his dog. Is he associated with Leap Above Dance? Or did he just take his dog for a walk and get caught up in the parade? It's happened to me on several occasions before, quite by accident. And it looks as if the Leap Above Dance float has captured several real-live mermaids. That is either an act of war upon Atlantis or an environmental conservation disaster, depending on who you ask. Oh boy, Aquaman will not be happy when he hears about this. But for the moment, the mermaids are a nice addition to this apparently fish-themed parade. Now some representation from the OHS girls golf team. Followed by the Oregon Future Farmers of America. Oregon has a strong FFA club. Looks like they may have a skewed. Nope. I spoke too soon. They've got the fish theme going on too. Although there's not a lot of fish farming in this part of Wisconsin. You know, they can get on a theme when they see one. They've got fish plastered to the sides of their trailer. Can't complain. Adds a little unity. Now the float from boys varsity soccer. That's another one of those sports I mentioned is in season right now. Boys varsity soccer going by. They've got the full team right up there throwing candy out to the crowds. Followed closely by the OHS girls swim team. Now we've got tonight's main attraction, the OHS cheerleaders, followed by the Oregon varsity football team. Again, one last time, tune in to our live coverage of the football game that starts at 7 p.m. tonight. This is a conference game, a deep, long-standing rivalry. It is one you will not want to miss. We got the whole team here, the varsity football, and you can see it tonight exclusively on OCA Live. And we got coming around for one more lap, the Oregon mascot, Victor E. Panther. He's actually the great-great-great-grandson of the UW Milwaukee Panther mascot of the same name. Victor E. Panther the 16th. Comes from a long line. Some tragic history there that I do not have time to go into now. A lot of poaching. Poaching took the lives of many of Victor E. Panther's forefathers. But it looks as if this may be just about the end of our parade. We want to thank you for tuning in to our coverage. Again, watch football tonight. I'm Sean Bull, and you're watching OCA Media live coverage.